as CFOs use AI and advanced analytics for things like forecasting and analysis, decisions and such, how do you see the role of the CFO evolving over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Man, I'll take this one. This is the game changer one right here. This is, I would say, the most disruptive value proposition for the CFO, right? My version of what the CFO is going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years is the chief future officer in the organization, right? The CFO now, like I look at the CFO office in 3 different phases. The phase before the pandemic, right? The CFO, the value that finance brought was we were the scorekeepers inside the organization, right? We kept score. We had a budget of 10 widgets. We did 8 widgets. Yay, right? The business was like, cool, I know if we did those widgets, right? Then when the pandemic happened, right, I seen it in my business. I seen it with the clients that we support. A lot of the chief marketing officers, a lot of the chief revenue officers, a lot of the chief sales officers, they said, look, there's a lot of uncertainty and challenge right now. I don't know how to navigate this. So they took that step back. And those CFOs that stepped up in their organizations to help navigate that uncertainty, that adversity and challenge, that set the new baseline of what the business demands out of the CFO now. Like, that's already up here, right? But when you look at the business demand for the office of the CFO, you look at the supply, right? What we're talking about now, that's a premium, basic economics. Demand's higher than supply, there's a premium, right? And now as we enter this next phase of the office of the CFO, being that chief future officer, like, this is our time to really dive into the business and know the business. Number one, you have to know the business. I do a lot of thought leadership across the world, and it's crazy how many CFOs I talk with, and I'm like, hey, tell me your ideal customer profile and your customer, how you get customers in your business. And they're like, Chris, I do the rolling forecasts and the budgets. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Know the business, because I'm making a staple right now that the CFO is the next line up to be that CEO of the organization. And you're starting to see it a lot more. You're starting to see CFOs go into the C-suite. I mean, I did that with myself. I had a financial background, and now I'm the CEO of my own fractional CFO and advisory service company. So I made that transition. So these things right now is all about augmenting the value that we bring to the organization.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. And I would say for those of you that have a chief commercial officer that oversee sales and marketing, I think the future of the CFO will have a more CCO background, blended probably with a CTO background. If you look at what CFOs do right now, they're operating within, the 25 to 25, to use a football analogy, or the 20 to 20, right? They get relatively clean data at some point, do a bunch of analysis, do some reporting, but the ends, the first 20 and the last 20 are kind of out of the purview of CFOs, generally speaking. I think in a future state, to tell a good story, to take that from you from earlier, or from the previous presentation related to data orchestration and data cleanliness, you have to know the whole thing. If you're going to give a presentation to your board at the end of the day and say, we used these statistical models to predict revenue forecast for our budget next year, you have to know the assumptions that your model made, your governance and your risk tools in place to make those decisions. And if you can't do that, I think the person that gets the job in the future will have that skill set.
Right. I think where the key lies is in risk assessment, because if anything I've seen with COVID, it's like, what are the potential risks and how does that then how do we mitigate that? I think as CFOs are more asking to really look future. What are the potential risks with the data that they potentially have and the analytics, and tell me what can I do differently, or how can I address it? How can I be prepared for that? Because the environment's changing. It's changing at a pace I've never seen it before, and you have to be nimble with that. And that's where I see AI really helping you to then go to that next level of doing that risk assessment for your organization.
And I'll say, as a sweeping generalization, CFOs will be more data savvy. As a result, they'll be more data driven, there'll be better data. We talked earlier today about data being the new Porsche, right? It's going to have value. So CFOs need to harness that value, and they need to know what impacts it. So I think you'll have more CFOs focused on the data and how to interpret it.